Seen this before. Not the first total lunar eclipse I've been around, but it's always pretty amazing. The thing that gets me about the relationship between the sun, the earth, and the moon is the ridiculous mathematics. That how in the heck do we end up with a planet that's just the right distance and just the right size that it will fully eclipse the moon? We have an unusually large satellite. The moon is really big compared to all the other moons in our solar system by comparison. It's placed exactly in the right place. There's relationship to the sun that this happens. This phenomenon is not something that will happen on every planet out there in the universe. In fact, astronomers and mathematicians say it's really almost improbable. Wow, color makes it look like Mars, man. Ooh, Mars is rising. No, it's the blood moon. No, this is like ancient times, right? We are like primal peoples, and we're still living in caves, and we have furs from dead animals hanging all over us, and we haven't figured out what soap is yet, and we're gnawing on bones, hanging out, making flint points to kill more buffaloes with and stuff, and all of a sudden, we'll call him Ugg, walks outside because, well, he's got to take a tinkle, and, finds a good bush, he's hanging out over there, and all of a sudden he kind of looks up for a change, and whoa, dude, the moon went bloody. Now, I've never seen this before in all of time, and my grandfather never told me anything about it, and so we know nothing, and we can't Google it because the computer is like thousands and thousands of years in the future. So what is it? Man, well, I don't know, dragons ate the moon, or it's the end of the world. We could panic and run around screaming. That's a panic and run around screaming. I agree totally. Best thing to do when you get a total lunar eclipse. Tomorrow won't come anyway. Well, you could invent a telescope. A lot of things we could do about this. Or we could just take it as one more thing that happens here, and hey, it's true. Some of the most incredible things. Incredible. I mean, it's just life itself. The way DNA can perpetuate. Biological organisms are like the most absolutely perfect machines technologically that there is. I mean, because they can, within a fraction, continuously reproduce identical copies of themselves over and over and over and over and over again in all manner of different forms. And the way we see things here, it's just the fact that the sun is there every morning to warm the earth, and it's just the right temperature here in Hawaii. Not so good in Minneapolis today, but nevertheless, they're not dying in Minneapolis either, so we get by pretty much from pole to pole on this stone. It is all pretty just incredible. We take everything for granted so much, just the fact that with every breath we're breathing the air of the planet, and it's good for us, usually. I don't know about in downtown Tokyo during a traffic jam, but otherwise, right here where I'm standing, it's pretty good today. The volcanoes are being quiet, and so we don't have any sulfur in the air. Yep. It's healthy to breathe the atmosphere. Now, how weird is that, It could be poison. It used to be before plants came. At some point, the plants showed up and they made all the oxygen. They were here so long before us. And so in relationship to a blood moon on a full eclipse, plants were here before we were. And sometimes I think they call the shots. We think we farm this stuff, but actually plants have convinced us to take care of them. It's common, I believe, in human society that we see ourselves as separate from the earth, which of course is a ridiculous illusion. I mean, hey, like I said, we're breathing the air here. Mark Twain did an editorial at one time in the St. Louis paper, and then back in the 19th century. It was pretty good during the Darwin monkey trials when we had this evolution argument going on in the courts, and Twain made the argument that he took the entire Eiffel Tower and compared it to all the life, the layers of evolution, of strata that had ever occurred on the face of the planet, and he's reading off that at this layer, the zoopods, and then the gastropods, and of course then there were the oysters, which, because eventually it was known that humans would come about to be the pinnacle of all creation, and man must have the oyster. And so this thing that was down in the bottom, 12 feet of the tower was actually there strictly for one purpose, just for the tiniest little flake of paint that existed at the top of the tower, which was all the time that humans had actually been around here on the planet. And of course, we know that everything that came before humans was there strictly for the fact that that tiny flake of paint would one day exist. That's not exactly the way Twain put it, but I mean, pretty close paraphrase. General idea. I was hysterical. He had such a wit. As we have such a self-importance as people, as considering ourselves to be so much more than we really are. Human race in general. Almost a complex. I call it homocentricity, or human-centric behavior, seeing humans as being, the reason and function of all existence. And, to me, I like to believe that we are not alone in this universe. It's comforting, a little scary, but still, the fact that we're just one more form of life, and maybe, like a lot less intelligent even than some of it, less adapted. I like the idea personally. It keeps me from thinking too much of myself most of the time. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Well, I hope the rest of you got a chance to see this thing. I imagine in some of the mainland today it's just so cold that you don't want to be outside, but you can still see it through the window, hopefully. Anywhere, I guess the sky's clear enough you can see the moon. Over most of the U.S., you should be able to pick up on this today. It's pretty, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it is here. Yeah, so it's also improbable, we take it all so much for granted when we get up every morning. And we look in the mirror and we didn't sleep right last night, and we gotta go to work, and the kids are screaming, and the house don't smell too good, and we live a lot of times in that part of our brains. That part of life is pretty common. You get on a freeway, you're commuting to work, and it's creeping at 15 miles an hour, stop, start. You wonder why you're even on the freeway. You want one of those little two-man electric helicopters, but still got to brush our teeth in the morning, pull our shorts on one leg at a time, and, do what we do. Hard to say what's important here, Everything that happens here is pretty much viewed through the filter of our social understandings, but there's a whole other thing going on. And it's quite mysterious, actually. It's a whole other thing actually going on. And I used to say, I got up in the morning, I went out and went to get in the car and stepped on something in the driveway, smashed it good, and started the engine and realized I just stepped on reality and destroyed it. Hey, this is the darkest full moon night ever. Maybe it's a night for spook spirits, vampires, and other creepy things that only occur during the most unusual and mystic of phenomena. If you think about the fact that most of what happens here happens because of the way we think about it, And a long time ago, we probably had so much superstition and mythology about this phenomenon that literally lingers in the wings, you know, stuff like that. If it's really powerful, almost never goes away. Most of our ghosts, goblins, and ghouls are all ancient stuff that have been carried forever, you know, through society. And relating around this phenomenon right here, I'll bet there are some specific things that the Druids used to do, ancient Mesoamerican cultures, you know. Oh, the blood color of the moon. I can only imagine. Probably had a lot of coronary removal. First guys to start heart surgery, you know, under a full moon with a blood color. Yeah, rip his chest open. He'll survive. It's a blood moon. Oh, he died. Crap. Oh, well. Throw him in the cenote with the rest of them. Many hoonies about? I know one night, you know, part moon, there was enough light to see outside. Something ran across my backyard when I was here alone one time. About 2.5 feet high, upright, on 2 legs. It could have been a mutant rooster, but they don't usually run around in the dark, you know. So who knows? I don't know what it was. I know it terrified me. It took me a bit to get back to sleep after that. I just hate it when short little 2-legged things run through the dark, you know. Right now, it's so dark out here that I'm starting to get spooked. Ooh, I'm going to have to go and turn on some yard lights or something. Well, I've been inside the house for a while. I shut the camera down out here, left it in the driveway, and decided I'd come back as things progressed. They are progressing slightly, and it was so dark. I mean, I want to say so damn dark out here for a full moon night. I couldn't find my way back out to the camera. I didn't bring a flashlight. I said, oh, yeah, I'll find it. You know, I know roughly where it is. Oh, man, I was 6 feet off in the wrong direction. I can't see a thing. It's like I'm inside a closet. It's unbelievable. Mars is so bright right now because the moon's blotted out. It's unbelievable that it's this dark out. I mean, it's like a new moon night, but it's a full moon. Ooh. Well, folks, the old green garden guy is going to head on inside. From here, basically all's going to happen is that old moon's going to get brighter again. Just my imagination, but there sure is a face up there. That'd be freaky too, you know? If we were to fall into darkness and superstition, and not only has the moon turned blood red, but it has a face. Ah! Unfortunately, for me, it looks like a kitty cat. I'm just not threatened. Here we are. We've got ourselves a good lunar phenomenon going on, and it's clear enough to actually be able to see it. Can't beat that with a shtick. Aloha. Y'all hang loose and get some sleep tonight. Don't stay out watching the moon.